Good morning, everybody. All the students of the Millennium School. I'm Radhika, and I head the Environment Education Division at WWF India. And welcome to all of you sitting at your home. Many of you would have loved a day, would have thought, when can school close for a long time? And when can I be sitting at home? And see, it's come true. All of us are sitting at home and studying. I think so. You would have imagined that you would have had lots of fun, but you have to also study from home. Very, very happy to have you all today. And as you all know, today is a webinar. You are going to gear up to become a plastic leader, somebody who can bust this big problem, plastics. So this challenge, the Tide Turner Plastic Challenge, is a global youth challenge. It is running in 7 countries. And at times at home, sometimes there is a very big problem or a small problem. You see your mother calling out to your father, sometimes to you, to solve the problem. And that's what happened. There is this big problem, plastics on this planet. And different organizations with different skills have come together to solve this problem. So we have UN Environment, Clean Seas, WWF India, CEE, and Million Sparks Foundation. It is always, when the problem is really big, it is always best if we join hands, because when we join hands, we are able to create a big movement and actually solve something. So a very, very warm welcome to all of you, and let's take this forward. So what happened to the Tide Turner Challenge in India? Well, last year we did a pilot phase and we said, let's see how it works in India. Like I said, it's a global movement, but we had to see what worked in India. And so we did a pilot. And what happened? We did it in 8 states. We did it with nearly 250 schools and colleges. And we had nearly 2,500 leaders, and totally nearly 50,000 people took the challenge. You can see these lovely pictures where people are doing cleanup drives, they are doing campaigns, and they're creating newspaper bags. So this challenge was, of course, on ground, and now we have to think of a interesting way how we can do and take this challenge sitting in our homes. So this is something about the pilot phase. And before we move on, I want to tell you a little bit about WWF, because I think so. As all you students will take this challenge, it is important to know who's leading this challenge. Many of you would have seen this panda, and I just want to tell you a story that began when we started the organization in 1961 in the United Kingdom. So at that point of time, this organization said that yes, we need to fight this problem where animals are going extinct, are getting endangered. So like any organization that starts, you have to have a logo. And at that point, Panda had come to the London Zoo. It was called Chi Chi. All of you should say that in your mind, Chi Chi. And little Chi Chi had come, and they said, wow, at that time the panda was endangered. And it was black and white, so very easy to print. Plus, everybody loves a panda, they're so cuddly. So that's how our logo came to form in 1961. And as you can see, it has changed over the years. And this is what the panda looks like. So many of the people, in WWF, we always say we are pandas. We even call ourselves pandas. Yeah, I don't know if the panda will like it, but yes. Okay. So, yeah, so we are there since 1961. In India, we are present in nearly 75 locations across this country. And WWF is there in over 100 countries. So India is one big part of it, but we are present across the world. Uh, And we are supported by millions of people who just believe in our work, our good work. So that's about WWF. And what do we do? So, what is the vision and mission of WWF? All of you are sitting at home today because of a virus. Um, and COVID 19 has a very big lesson for all of us. What WWF believes in is that we must live in harmony with nature. This planet does not belong only to humans. We may be very intelligent, but it doesn't belong only to us. We have to coexist with the tree, with the dragonflies, with the tigers, creatures big and small. And that's what WWF's mission is. Today, we are in a situation because we are cutting forests down blindly. Animals do not have a home, and that's when they come into more contact with us, which leads to diseases. Hence, it is extremely important that you understand the mission, that as you take your first journey to the to growing this leadership program or growing your journey into the environment area, you should understand that this planet belongs to every creature here and us, and not just us, and we must learn to coexist. So this is what our mission is and what we believe in working in. Um, so a little bit about the areas of work or the divisions of WWF. Um, in India, like I said, we are there in nearly 75 locations, and we work on tigers and rhinos. They are priority species that are being harmed or going extinct or are endangered. So we work on that. It's called the species and landscape. Other than that, um, we also work on rivers, oceans, policy, law, agriculture, climate change, and of course, education. So, as you can see, everything is interlinked. Everything is interlinked. And that's the need for this organization that, 50 years began with the Environment Education Division, but today it has grown into so many divisions. So, that's what WWF looks like. Um, and I also wanted to share that, we're a science based organization. So we work a lot on research. And every 2 years, we come up with a report. It's called the Living Planet Report. You should Google it. You should look for it, and you should download a summary of this. It's a very interesting read. As I said, we're a science based organization and we do research. So it's not a thing that we suggest that we should live in coexistence with the environment. It's not something that we made up. Research says that 90% of seabirds have got plastic in their stomach. Rainforests are shrinking at 20%, and the temperature of the planet is really going up. So the report says this to us, and therefore we believe, and today we are having this webinar with the Millennium School because we believe that together we can make a huge change, and the time is good to act now. It is very, very important that we act now. If we all come together, we can make a huge change. At times we think, what can I do? I'm a small child in my home. Well, you can think twice before buying a plastic bottle. You can think twice before using a plastic straw. There are lots and lots of things, and everything, becomes a huge mountain eventually. So it is extremely important that you understand that this is the status of the environment, but there's nothing to feel sad. You are great leaders. You are children who are intelligent and full of enthusiasm. And imagine, and all the Millennium School children come together, you can make a huge difference. And that's the power of being together. So the time has come for us to act now. And we have two choices. So this is a turtle, right? Turtles eat jellyfishes. And this turtle is looking at that thing. It looks like a jellyfish. But no, it's a plastic bag. And the turtle doesn't know whether it's a jellyfish or a plastic bag and tends to swallow it. So the choice is with us. What do we want? We want a planet with plastic or a planet without plastic. This, do we want the turtle to swim freely, or do we want the turtle to be caught with this plastic bag and choking on it? And today it's a turtle, but tomorrow it can also be us. We are sitting at home because we take things for granted. Even we should understand and value this. So I think, and I know I can't hear all of you, but I know in your hearts, all of you agree with me that we want a turtle swimming freely. We want you all back in school, making a noise and enjoying playtime and having lots of fun and meeting your friends. So I would just say and urge all of you, as you go through this webinar and you learn more about plastics and you learn what you can do at home, what are the levels, I only believe one thing, that you can be a planet ninja. I'm sure all of you are thinking, yes, we can do it. So I urge all of you to become a planet ninja. Believe that this planet belongs to all of us and we need to coexist. So, all of you, good luck, and over to the next part of the session, which my colleague Neha will be telling you, taking you through. And it's all about learning about plastics. So, let's know plastics. Is all plastic bad? Is all plastic good? So, over to Neha and enjoy your session with her.
Hello, everyone. A very good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning for Plastic Type Turners, program. And before we move further, I would share my screen and give you a little, a few things that you can do to kind of totally enjoy the session. So, moving further. All right. All right. So, moving further. Yeah. So plastic is a magic material. Why do we call it a magic material? Definitely because we cannot imagine our lives without. We cannot imagine our lives without plastic. The way. Sorry for that inconvenience. Okay. So plastic, the way a plastic has revolutionized the way we travel, the medicine, to the daily convenient material like water bottles, plastic straws. It has completely taken over our lives. So but then plastic was invented to save wildlife. Initially, the combs, the piano keys, the billiard balls were all made with elephant ivory. And soon people realized that, elephants were getting extinct because of this. And there was, a billiard company announced a prize money of $10,000 to anyone who comes up with a solution. And there is this young gentleman called John Weasley Hyatt, who came out with some solution, but then he couldn't manage to win a prize because the plastic that he came out with, the solution that he came out with, the material that he developed was too soft to create billiard balls. He made some kind of plastic which was called celluloid, from which the combs were made and photographic films were made. So it was definitely a revolutionary invention. I am going to let you watch a little film which is going to let you further understand, the journey of plastic, how it evolved, how it kind of totally became a part of our lives.
Plastics have become such an entrenched part of our lives. But what exactly is plastic? And how is it made? Before plastic became so ubiquitous, it underwent a transformation from being a strictly natural product to being synthetically and widely produced. Some of the earliest uses of plastic date as far back as 3,500 years ago, when the Olmecs of Mexico used naturally occurring plastics, sap from gum trees, to create rubber balls. During the mid-19th and 20th centuries, synthetic plastics like celluloid and bakelite made their debut and were used for decades. On the molecular level, plastics are made of polymers, which are long, flexible chains of chemical compounds. This structure allows plastics to be easily molded and shaped, especially under heat and pressure. Unlike the rubber used by the Olmecs, most of today's plastics are man-made and derived from fossil fuels. Crude oil and natural gas are primary sources, as they provide a cheap alternative to plastic made from plants. The first step in the production of plastic is the extraction of crude oil and natural gas from the ground. From there, the fossil fuels are sent to refineries where they are converted into several products, including the building blocks of plastic, ethane from crude oil and propane from natural gas. Ethane and propane are then sent to a cracker plant to be cracked or broken down into smaller molecules. Ethane produces ethylene and propane becomes propylene. Next, a catalyst is mixed in, which links the molecules together and forms polymers called resins. This structure allows plastics to be easily molded and shaped, especially under heat and pressure. Polymerization converts ethylene into the resin polyethylene and propylene into polypropylene. These resins are then melted, cooled down, and chopped up into pre-production plastic pellets known as nurdles. Nurdles are later transported to manufacturers who use heat to mold the nurdles into different types of plastic products. Many of those products actually feature information about their manufacturing process. Numbers called resin identification codes are often featured, indicating which chemicals were used to make the plastic. Because of plastic's utility, its global production has doubled about every decade. The amount of plastics produced since 1950 has measured at about 9.2 billion tons, the weight of nearly 1,600 Great Pyramids of Giza.
So all of you watched this video and kind of understood the science behind, the production of plastic, and also how this magic material became a menace material, the way it has kind of entered our lives, from being a material that was created to save wildlife, ended up becoming a threat to all the animals around the world, including human beings. I would now urge you all to, open a device. It could be, if you're watching the webinar on your on a laptop, you can open up, your mobile and play this little quiz that we have on menti.com. All you have to do is go to your browser, type www.menti.com. And then what you are going to do is you're going to look around for things made from plastic in your home and write down as many things you can on your screen. All right, so I am going to take you to Menti to Okay, so what are the most common plastic items around you? You can answer in one word. You can give more options. Um, Let us see the responses on the screen as you all reply on Menti. What you have to do is go to your browser, type menti.com. It is going to ask you for a code. The code is right on your screen, 415592. As soon as you enter the code, you will be able to enter your responses. So I'm waiting for some of you to enter the responses. Okay, great. I am getting a few options over here. Chair, plastic bottle, carry bag, toothbrush, of course, plastic spoons, cars have plastic, a remote control to your television, a pen is made of plastic. I think so you will realize, how plastic has gradually started to completely take over our lives as the responses are coming in. The word bubble is growing bigger and bigger and denser, exactly the way plastic has kind of entered our lives. So yeah, definitely, I can see, and this is an alarming situation. The dustbin, the study table, almost everything has a plastic alternative to it. A basket, which I remember earlier used to be made of cane or more eco-friendly material, is now the switches. Yeah, I mean, and you know what is very amazing is you will see a mix of items which are very useful in being plastic, and there are a lot of things which you can easily do without. There are other alternatives available. However, because of plastic being a magic material, more and more things are kind of being made of plastic. Yes, and I think so I have driven home the point that plastic has completely immersed in our lives. It was not like this until few years ago. Just a moment. Yeah, it wasn't like this until a few years ago, and few decades ago. It was in 1907 that the plastic was invented, and it made it to our shelves by 1950s. Soon after the World War II, it kind of the commercial production had started, and then it kind of reached our shelves. Moving further, you can see some of the key applications of plastic, and you will see that a lot of building and construction material is made of plastic. The mobility and transport has completely fiber and plastic material used for its manufacturing. Electronics, agriculture, healthcare, of course, is cannot do without plastic at all. You must have seen that during our PPE kits, the hazmat suits, the gloves, the masks, they all have plastic in it. So this is all plastic is not bad. So a lot of life-saving equipment is made with plastic. What is very interesting to see is that even our clothes, sports and leisure items are also made of plastic. These are some of the key applications of plastic in our day-to-day lives. Moving further, I am again going to ask you to go back to Menti and let us find out what are some of the merits and demerits of plastic. What you have to do is again go to menti.com, refresh your browser. This time the code that you have to enter is 61921 to be able to enter some of the merits of plastic. You can type answer in one word and then submit more responses so that we get to understand how do you see plastic as a problem solver. I am waiting for responses to come up on the screen. Some of you are trying, of course. These are some responses. I know there are some unhappy responses. It's very cheap, it's lifesaver, it's waterproof. Of course, it makes our life easy. It harms aquatic life, would not be a merit, it would be a demerit. It is used in first aid kits, medicine. It's durable, lightweight, and cheap. We can carry, definitely, we can carry liquids. It's water resistance. We can certainly, it's reusable, of course. I don't know how many of us reuse. It can be used in microwave. Yesterday, I burnt my cookie in a plastic vessel, so I would rather PPE suits. Of course, I mean, we have just seen how many things around us are made of plastic. It's very strong. And of course, I'm getting repeat answers. So I would move on to the next question in this. And let us look at some of the demerits of plastic. I would urge you all to now give your response to the next question. Some of the demerits of plastic, as I mentioned earlier, that all plastic is not bad, but there definitely are cancerous, definitely, and I don't know what you mean by ohm, but definitely it is cancerous. It's non-biodegradable. The very reason why plastic is useful is also the reason why plastic is harmful. So okay, definitely it harms the environment, all aspects. It's single use, so in most cases you will see that a single use plastic item, it kind of leaves us in not in less than 12 minutes. So definitely it harms animals. All right, I am looking at some demerits. It cannot be disposed of. They are insulators, would be a merit. I am waiting for some more responses to come. Recycling is a very big issue because for the simple reason that when recycling, the quality of plastic that reaches the recycler is so bad, it is so dirty, it is mixed with whole lot of other impurities that recycling becomes very, very resource intensive, because in the first place you have to clean the plastic and then put it for recycle, which makes it even more resource intensive in terms of the amount of water which will be used to clean it and then recycle. Animals, of course, they consume it and they die. So it's in every sense I can see all of you looking at so many demerits of plastic after having seen so many merits of it. Let us go back to the presentation and then let's move further. So what are plastics? Of course, as I mentioned in my in my presentation earlier, that it was invented in 1907 and it is a human-made material, and it was initially made of polymers made out of plants. However, with passage of time, we came out with more synthetic kind of polymers which were made with petroleum and with the non-renewable sources of energy. So of course, this is how plastic ended up in our lives completely. Let us look at the evolution of plastic, which you have already seen through the movie that you watched. Of course, modern plastic was invented in the US in 1907. Around 1950s, plastic waste, I mean, children may not have seen, as children, when I was a child, we used to get milk in steel jars. We used to get milk or in glass bottles, but then eventually, it has completely replaced the metal and the renewable containers, and the plastic has totally taken over. We get plastic and in those packets, milk in those plastic packets. And in 1970s, beverage industry, as you must have often heard people saying that the bottled water companies, they do not manufacture water because it's already available around us, but they manufacture plastic bottles. So that has definitely become a very big problem, and 60 to 80% of ocean waste found as non-biodegradable plastic. And like Radhika shared in her presentation, as per the Living Planet report, 90% of the seabirds have plastic in their stomach. And there was another report which was published lately which mentioned that human beings in the modern times have started to eat plastic of the size of a credit card, and and that's what we are consuming. Okay, and in 2004, phenomena of microplastic in ocean was discovered. So what is microplastics? It's really important to understand what is microplastics, because any plastic item will eventually disintegrate. It will take, it will kind of break into smaller particles. But the challenge is when plastic is broken into these smaller particles, they scatter. One, it is very difficult to remove it from the natural resources. Two, it, after combining with water, sun, it becomes a toxic pill, and it lives in the natural body, in the natural resource for millions and millions years more after breaking down into microplastic. So that is a very big challenge, when plastic disintegrates and turns into microplastic. How much plastic waste do we generate? These are some annual figures. If we are to kind of go back and look at some of the statistics in terms of the total number of plastic that has ever been produced or that has ever been recycled, the figures are really, really grim. So we produce, as you can see on your screens, we produce 300 million tons of plastic per year. And if I am to bring things into perspective, we have, and you would have also watched it in the video earlier, that until now we have produced 9.2 billion tons of plastic, which is, in terms of the weight of Eiffel Tower, it equals 8,22,000 Eiffel Towers. It equals 80 million whales in the ocean. So no wonder, if there are predictions that say that by 2050 there will be more plastic in oceans than fish, and it is certainly a very scary and a grim situation. And we have reached this situation for two very simple reasons: our indifference and apathy. We don't care because we don't see the problem so evidently around us, but definitely we are indifferent, which is why we find it very convenient to ask for a poly bag. We find it very convenient to to get milk in a plastic packet and throw it away, even though it is recyclable. It is very it comes with a lot of effort to kind of wash the plastic packet in which you got milk, keep it for recycler, and then give it away. So definitely apathy and indifference, according to me, are the biggest reason why plastic has become a problem for us. There is a little activity that I'm going to have you all participate in. What you have to do is you have to guess which product has the fastest rate of decomposition and which one is the slowest. And I'm going to ask you to put it in the order, but again, I'm going to ask you to do it on Menti. Let us go back to Menti. And all right, so here is your, so you can see, again, this time your code is, you can refresh your browser, type menti.com, and your code this time is 885645. And what you have to do is you have to arrange them in the order of fastest to slowest decomposition. So the item that would decompose the fastest to be ranked 1, and the slowest decomposing article to be marked as 8. So you have your options are poly bag, plastic bottle, mobile phone, tea bag, woolen socks, apple core, banana, and magazine. These are the options that you saw on the screen. And I am looking at your response. Okay, apple core, according to you, is the fastest. I am looking at more options here. I would request you, okay, the second is okay. I am still waiting for more responses. Until now, I have only 11 responses. I think so. We will get, the average ranking once we have more people, putting in their responses. But the general trend is that the apple core will decompose the fastest. Then is banana, and someone said a poly bag. Then is a tea bag, woolen socks, a magazine. I just saw poly bag moving down, which is okay. Mobile phone and a plastic bottle. I am waiting for a couple of responses more to come so that I get the right responses on the screen. All right, so I already have 88 responses on my screen, and I think so I have understood some kind of trend here. So according to you, apple core will decompose the fastest. Next is banana, then tea bag. Magazine, according to you, let us find out what the exact response is. So I am going to go back to the presentation. And let us figure out what the correct responses are. Okay, so tea bag was the fastest, then is the banana, then is the apple core. So whoever thought that apple core will decompose the fastest, it stands third in the ranking. Then is a woolen socks, a poly bag, and of course the poly bag will definitely disintegrate but not completely disappear. It will make some toxic pills. Magazine, even though it is made of paper, falls a little low on the ranking for the simple reason that these magazines have a thin plastic layer on it. Then is the plastic bottle, and last is the phone, which is the slowest to decompose. However, this particular ranking does not give us a very clear picture of the problem. All right, if we move on to the next slide, you will understand what exactly the problem is. So if you look at the decomposition timeline, tea bag will take about a month, banana 6 weeks, apple core 2 months, woolen socks will take about 12 months to decompose or disintegrate. Plastic bag will take about 20 years. 50 years for a magazine to totally decompose. A plastic bottle will take about 450 years, but it won't disappear. It won't kind of go back to nature in its natural form. It is going to change into microplastics. I am saying that again and again. So we have to be very mindful. And last but not the least is mobile phone. How often, the technology changes, and how often do we all change the mobile phone? We switch to a new one. Okay, a new technology has come in because we all have the buying capacity. The cost that the environment has to pay for it is immense. I am going to show you a film which is a little disturbing, I would say, but then anything which is unpleasant, we should watch and see where the problem is. And I'm going to come back to you with an interesting quiz. So do watch the film very carefully so that you are able to take the quiz, and we will have a winner after the quiz. So do watch the film very carefully. Sorry.
Plastic production this year is expected to be more than 300 million tonnes. Almost every piece of plastic ever made is still on the planet in some form or another, coating our land and our oceans like a disease.
Absolutely no doubt this bird died as a result of that plastic.
There is no away that you can put things and expect that they're really away. The whole planet is where we live.
Is wonderful because it's durable, and plastic is terrible because it is durable. Almost every piece of plastic ever made is still on the planet in some form or another. Plastic production globally this year is expected to be more than 300 million tonnes.
Half of which we'll use just once and then throw away. By 2050, when the population explodes to almost 10 billion people, it's expected that plastic production will triple. The problem with that is that today only a fraction of the plastic that we produce is recycled. The rest ends up in our environment, and it's coating our land and our oceans like a disease.
Garbage thrown away in the United States can make its way to Antarctica. Plastic in our coastal waters is pulled into the centre of massive wind-driven, churning circular gyres. There are many other ocean currents also diverting the trash all around the surface of the ocean. In reality, it's just one ocean with no boundaries. Lord Howe Island is a World Heritage Site and home to migratory seabirds like the shearwater. Seabirds are incredibly helpful because they act like an army of scientists. They travel thousands of miles across the ocean. They pick up plastic off the surface of the ocean. They bring it back to their rookeries where they feed it to their chicks. And that provides an incredible amount of scientific data in terms of where the plastic comes from, its distribution, and how it breaks up on the ocean surface. Dr. Jennifer Lavers, she's devoted her life to studying the plight of seabirds. Shearwaters are incredible birds. They migrate thousands of miles, stopping only here to breed.
Yeah, the stomach is very, very full, and if we look here, there's some very dark pieces, some very light white pieces, and if you see, as I push on this, it's absolutely rigid, completely full of plastic all the way up.
Oh, look at that.
Absolutely no doubt that this bird died as a result of that plastic. That is literally a gut full of plastic. It's quite alarming, isn't it?
Oh, that's awful.
Range of plastic types and colours. We've got everything from the blues and the reds
His
to the
stomach's just filled with it. Big pieces too.
big sharp pieces.
Oh wow, look at the size of that big black piece.
That is an enormous piece of plastic.
Unbelievable. Look at the size of that. Jen, I counted 234 pieces of plastic out of that one bird. Is that a record?
Not even close, unfortunately. So for this species, the record is 276 pieces of plastic inside of one 90-day-old chick. And that plastic, when we weighed it out, accounted for 15% of that bird's body mass. So that's a pretty scary statistic. If we translate that into human terms, it gets even worse. That would be equivalent to you and I having somewhere around 6 or 8 kilos of plastic inside of your stomach. It's equivalent to about 12 pizzas worth of food inside of your stomach. Quite a bit of plastic for just one little bird. The parents were trying to do the right thing. There's a lot of squid beaks in here, and this purple colour is evidence of the squid ink. It's just a shame that every now and then they got it wrong and got it wrong in a bad way. Really is quite an overwhelming thing. I do have some pretty rough days, have to go home and really wrap my mind around where do we go from here.
As a Pacific Islander, I know that the ocean is in deep trouble. The very authoritative prediction shows that by the year 2050, there'll be as much plastic as there is fish in the ocean by weight. Every country uses plastic. We need to start rationalizing that. We need to think about reuse of plastic, single-use plastic. It's got to be on its way out. And you know, plastic shopping bags are a good example of that. Your family does not need to use them. Take a cloth bag with you when you go shopping and put your shopping in that. There's an equivalent of a large garbage truck every minute of every day backing up to the ocean and just dumping plastic into it. We really have to look at ourselves and say, do we deserve this beautiful ocean that was given to us?
Yeah, so this was a movie which kind of every single time I watch it kind of just shakes me up and pushes me to realize that the solutions are simple. It is just about stepping out of your comfort zone a little bit. There are alternatives to plastic, and as I mentioned earlier, we have to kind of get over our apathy and indifference. And I think so the part in the film which really moved me was when Dr. Howie mentioned that there were 292 pieces of plastic in a 190-day-old chick. And while she was also cleaning up the stomach of one of the albatross on the island, there was a piece of plastic. Who in the ocean is using a pen? And people living in the landlocked places and who feel that the kind of plastic waste that we generate will not end up in oceans are highly mistaken. Eventually it lands into our rivers, and from there it will eventually reach the oceans. Oceans are being dumped with plastic waste every single day. So yeah, the situation is really sad. However, what I am going to do right now is I am going to see how many of you watched the movie very carefully and are ready to take the quiz and are looking at winning it too. So moving back to Menti, I would want you all to go to your browsers, type again Menti, or if need be you can refresh it, and then the new code will be 409652 is your new code. I would urge you all to put your names, your first name and the city that you are from, so that we can identify the winner easily. And I would urge you all to gear up. I have people joining in really fast while you have joined the quiz. Also bear in mind that this quiz is going to take two things into consideration. One, of course, a person giving the right answer gets a score, and the people answering the fastest get a higher score. So I have the numbers growing. The numbers really moving fast. 75 have joined already. The number is still going up. I am waiting for maximum number of people to join the quiz before I start the quiz. Okay, so 110 so far. Those who have already joined the quiz, I would request them to be a little patient. There is a possibility that some of you may be facing internet issues and are trying to join. I would wait for some of you to quickly join the quiz. I have 131 participants as of now. $143. So 153 right now. So we have done this quiz with over 700 people in the past. So I would wait for everyone to join in. I hope you are giving your names carefully so we can identify the winner, or the winner can just put their names in the comment box. 166. Okay, the moment we touch the number of 200, we will move. Okay, so I am starting the quiz now. All of you gear up. Okay. So let me start the quiz and the rest can jump in. Remember, when you have to be very quick in answering the question, and also the answer has to be correct. I'm going to show you the leaderboard after every question so that you know if you are among top 10 people on the quiz. Let's start. Look at your phone screens. The question is, what happens to the plastic waste? Your options will appear on your screen. You have 10 seconds to answer. Your time is up. 120 people managed to answer the question. We got 64 of them right, and the rest couldn't manage to get it right. Let us look at the leaderboard. You got your answers on your screen. We will move to the leaderboard. Okay, so Beyonce was the fastest to give the correct answer, and second position is Darsh Patil. You can all see the leaderboard on your screens, and we have on the top 10 people are Adyansh Mishra, Ishita, Navi, Meenal, Pratyusha, Arman, Riva, and Sanvi on the top of the leaderboard at the moment. But there are more questions for you to gain on the leaderboard. Next question on your phone screens. By what year do scientists predict plastic will outweigh fish in the ocean? You have 10 seconds to give the answer. Okay, so 147 people managed to give the answer within the time. 81 of you got it right. Let's see how much time. How many of you got the answer, correct answer at the fastest? Let's move to the leaderboard and find out if there was any shuffling that happened. So Pratyusha has moved up the ladder with 1733 points. However, Sia was the fastest to give the correct answer. There are a few new names on the screen. Let us move further to the next question. All of you look at your phone screens for the question and the options from which you have to pick. What percentage of emitted carbon dioxide is absorbed by the oceans? Your options are right on the screen. 10%, 40%, 50%, or 77%. Let's see. I got 178 people attempting this. 44 of you got it right. And let's see who answered the fastest. So I'm going to show you the leaderboard. On your screen, as per the leaderboard, there is some major shuffle which has taken place, and I feel there are going to be new faces. Okay, sorry, new names. Shravya was the fastest, Mayan Gupta second, Ankit, Manit Bansal, and we have some new names over here. Congratulations, the ones who managed to get the last answer correct. Shravya, well done. Moving to the next question. On your phone screens, on average, how long is a plastic bag used by a person before being thrown away? If you watch the film and the presentation very carefully, you would know what the correct answer is. Okay, so 172 people attempted this question. 67 of you got it right, which means you really watched the presentation carefully and you were capturing numbers. Well done. Let's look at the leaderboard. All right, there is again some shuffling happening on the leaderboard. Gaurav was of course the fastest to pick up the right answer in the last question. Mayan Gupta is at the top. Dishita Lumba is at second position with 22 points. I will move on to the next question. On your phone screens, about 70% of the earth is covered with water. How much of it is fresh water? Most of you would have studied it in your science lesson at some point. Let us see how many of you get the right answer, with 190 people giving the response. 93 of you get it right. Let us see what the leaderboard looks like now. Okay, so Ishmeet Singh was the fastest in this question, and Mayan still holds the first position. He's getting most of the questions right, so it is smart of Mayan to be playing safe and picking the right answer, but also making sure that he's kind of doing it within time. Next question comes on your phone screen. More than half of the breathable oxygen in the world comes from where? Your options are on your screen: oceans, lakes, forests, clouds. Let us see, your time is up. With 192 people attempting the question, 82 get it right. The answer is oceans. All right, let us look at the leaderboard now. And if this was the last question, then we are going to get a winner from this question. Let's see who was the fastest to give the correct answer. Okay, Milind Batla was the fastest to give the answer, and we have our winner. Very well done, Mayan Gupta. Congratulations. You can put your name and the location from where you are joining the session today. Many congratulations. We will reach out to you. And moving back to the presentation. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining me. I am moving, and I am going to hand over the platform to my colleague Amreen, who's going to talk to you about the Tide Turners challenge that Radhika had introduced earlier. And over to Amreen.
Thank you very much, Neha. It was indeed a very exciting session. And I hope all the students from Millennium really enjoyed, and we could see the energy through their participation in the quiz. So moving ahead, girls and boys, next for you is to understand how you can become a part of the challenge. All right, so the coming up slides will entail, you will get to know what the Tide Turner Plastic Challenge entails and what is it therein for you. So talking about the Tide Turner Plastic Challenge, it is structured into 3 stages: level 1, level 2, and level 3. So you progress from each level, and each level has a set of activities. In level 1, the activities that are there are meant to make you self-aware and educate you about the issues of plastic. As you complete those activities, which are in the form of movies, films, and conducting your own plastic footprint and taking a pledge. Once you complete that, you gradually move on to level 2. And level 2 is basically has a certain activities where you will engage your friends, your family, and make them more aware how they can take small actions and contribute to the issue of controlling plastic problem. Level 3 has certain more activities which will give you a chance to actually act like a planet ninja. Here you will inspire your friends and family to understand their plastic footprint, how they can reduce it, and definitely what sustainable alternatives they can adopt to live a sustainable lifestyle. Here, level 1 is not graded, but level 2 and level 3, you will be given scores for each activity that you complete. And for each level 2 and level 3, you will have to score at least 50% to move on to next level. So why should you become a part of this challenge? What is in there for you? So basically, as my colleagues earlier mentioned, this Tide Turner Plastic Challenge is running actively, and youth from across 17 plus countries are actively involved in this program to earn the Tide Turner badge. So how do you get a Tide Turner badge? As I mentioned in the previous slide, there are 3 levels to the challenge. Once you complete all 3 levels, you will be given, depends. Okay, here I would like to mention, if you complete all 3 levels with a lot of impact and innovation, you will be rewarded with a Tide Turner badge. And you can proudly say, yes, I am a Tide Turner champion. Apart from that, for each level that you complete, you will be getting an e-certificate, which comes every time you complete one level, it will be automatically generated and you can download it on your systems. Then again, you get a chance to be a part of the global movement and join the cadre of these youth who are taking actions in their respective countries. Additionally, if students, there are a lot of students from Millennium here today, and if all of you together are able to make huge impact, you will be able to get recognition for your school as well. And your school will be awarded with the Tide Turner Champion accolade during the National Summit. Here, I would like to mention that all the students who complete these challenges successfully will get a chance to attend the National Youth Summit, which will be happening in the month of July 2020. So here, now, this Tide Turner Challenge is a digital challenge, which is accepting registration from students free of cost on a website. So what you have to do is, now in coming next slides, I will request each one of you to grab a pen and a notepad and take down notes so that it will help you in registering for the challenge. So first thing is, what is the URL? How do you go to the website? So you have to do one thing. You have to go to your browser, be it Safari, Chrome, Google, whichever your Internet Explorer, whichever browser you're using, you have to type in tide-turners.org. You can see it up on the screen. It's written here, TIDE-turners.org. Once you type in, this website will come up. So here, as you move on to this, here again, I'll just give you a glimpse of what all is there. It addresses FAQs if you have any questions regarding the challenge, like why you should be part of it, what you will get. Again, there is a resource center, which you can connect you with readily available publications. And we have also put a Tide Turner toolkit there, which you can access. About challenge, about tab has a few information about the partners who are doing the challenge and which all status it is happening in. So how you can register? So here you'll have to click on register now, and when you click on this kind of form comes up. I'll quickly take you through the fields as well so that you're able to fill it up later on. First name, last name, and mobile number is something that you have to clearly mention. Mobile number is very important. If you do not have your own mobile, ensure that you fill in correct and active mobile number from one of your parents so that you're able to log in later. The reason is that every time you fill your registration form, an OTP will be generated and will be sent on the mobile number that you are submitting here, without which you will not be able to proceed with your login. Then there is an email address as well. So again, if you do not have your own email address, you can put in your parents' email address here so that we can communicate and connect with you to identify the best champions who are competing all the levels, and we can invite you as well to the National Summit. Country as applicable, it is open to Indian students, so that will be India. You can select your state or UT wherever you're present. City, you can type out. All right. Profession, if you're a teacher, if you're a student, you can click as appropriate. Institution, you'll click on school, name of institution, location. This is as applicable. Password. Do set in a password and do note it somewhere so that you are able to access your account later on. Age group, again, whichever is applicable, gender, and the last step is very important to complete your registration. You have to, since you're attending the webinar today, you are associated with WWF. So before you proceed and close your registration form, do select WWF from the list of organizations that is being listed here, so that you're associated with us, and whenever we organize a summit, you can be invited for. Moving on, as I mentioned, next step will be once you complete the registration form, this window will pop up and you will have to submit in your OTP. It may take a minute or a 2 minutes delay for OTP to reach you, but do not worry, it always comes. Depending on the network issues, it may take longer so that you can try again if that issue comes up. Once you submit, next step will be a plastic survey. So this plastic survey is basically to understand your perceptions and views about the plastic. So this is an essential part without which you cannot move ahead. Once you complete it, you will get a tab to log in into your account. So you have to put in your email address that you have put in the registration form and the password that you created. Once you click on login, you will be able to enter the dashboard. And this is how your dashboard will look like. As I mentioned, there are 3 levels to the challenge, and 3 have been being depicted here through treasure boxes. So each level will have a specific timeline for you to complete. Say for example, level 1, you will get 7 days to complete. So once you click on start, so this is how your activities will look like. So each, on the left hand side, you can see a tab which says entry level activities, leader and champion level. There are a set of 3 to 4 activities under each level, and without completing a single activity, you cannot proceed to next. So this is how you can proceed with each activity. This is an example of level 2 activity. Here, whichever activity you complete, you will have to take pictures, you will have to take videos, and as you go through the dashboard, you will understand what activities you have to complete and what evidence you have to furnish to proceed to the next activity. So here you can click on upload, and wherever it is saved on your system, you can put in here. So as you complete each and every activity, it will show how much progress you have made. It will show if you have completed it. Then leader level, again, it will show you if you have completed it. Leader level will be evaluated, and we will be assigning, our teams will be reviewing your work and will be assigning you marks so that winners can be selected. As you can see on my screen, there's a tab showing view certificate. So for each level, this kind of certificate will be generated. This is a sample for entry level, which I have generated for myself. For each level, you will get a certificate like this. So again, I would like to reiterate that yes, you are getting a certificate for each level, but if you complete all 3 levels, you will be rewarded with a Tide Turner badge, and you will get a chance to attend the National Youth Summit in July. Now, talking about the last deadline of the challenge closes on 15th of June. That means you just have a little bit of time until 15th June to complete all the 3 levels. Earlier you start, you will get more time and you can carry out your activities more thoughtfully. So I'll request each one of you to go to the website and complete your registration today itself. If you have any questions, you can put in the comments and we will respond to them. With this, we would like to end, and also again, he would like to mention that if you have any issues, any queries, any questions, you can always write to us on tideturner@wwfindia.net or on volunteer@wwfindia.net. Also, we would like to hear from you. How was your experience of the webinar? Did you like it? Would you like to suggest anything for us to improve? And you can scan this QR code and submit your feedback. With this, we would like to thank you for attending the webinar and wish you all the best for the successful journey as a Tide Turner champion. Thank you.